Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. I'm going to tell you the truth about what happened in the Super Bowl and why the NFL didn't rig up the bad calls and why the Eagles choked. It was a great game. They didn't play terrible, but they choked. And I'm going to tell you why they choked and how great Mahomes is. When the Eagles scored that first touchdown, the way they methodically went down the field, I was like, uh-oh. And then I'm thinking if they get a stop and that pass rush gets going, 70 sacks, they get after Mahomes, they get a lead, they're going to play downhill. Here we go, Eagles. Might smash them because I said the Eagles would win in overtime, which I could have been right. I'll get to that later. But Mahomes hit Travis Kelce for the 20-yard pass that just set the tone because he went right all the way down the field with Travis Kelce. And it set the tone of how bad Jonathan Gannon's defense was for the Eagles and how good the Chiefs were. They were good. And they moved downfield, tied the score. And the Eagles got stopped, and then Buckner missed a field goal. And Buckner, I said, this guy's going to cost the Chiefs. And he didn't. But that really got the Eagles going, where they were able to score right down the field for a touchdown. 45-yard pass to A.J. Brown. Boom! Here come the Eagles, 14-7. Eagles are about to go up 2 scores. And Jalen Hurts unfortunately fumbles. And Jalen Hurts was great, running and passing, playing the best he could in the Kansas City when they tied up. But the Eagles go up 2 scores. They're up 24 to 14 at the half. And it could have been 28-14, but some bad delay of game penalties. These are all mistakes that I'm listing all the mistakes the Eagles made that really cost them the game. It's 24-14. And the Eagles are up 20, and they're dominating, and they're doing a decent job holding the Chiefs down, but they're really moving the ball well. It hurts hitting A.J. Brown, across the middle to Devontae Smith. The little intermediate passing game that they had going was fantastic. And then Mahomes gets hurt, and I'm thinking, it's over. Channing's going to come in, they're done. They shoot him up. I don't know what they shoot him up with. It's a long halftime, and he comes out. That offense came out smoking. That looked like the Chiefs. They held there was no sacks, no pressures. They went right down the field. Isaiah Pacheco scored. Isaiah Pacheco was fantastic. And the Kansas City Chiefs ran for 119 yards in the second half. They gashed the Eagles. So, all right. Now the Eagles' turn to come down. I told my best friend Wayne, listen, Eagles better score a touchdown. Just establish that dominance. Even if they get a field goal, you're opening the door for the Chiefs to catch up. And they drive down, and they drive down the field of Kansas City 19, then they stall, and they needed to score. And then it's a field goal. Here come the Chiefs, because now they're in their rhythm. Andy Reid has figured out Gannon's defense, and they're going right down the field, and they're gashing them with the run. Juju Smith-Schuster has 7 catches in the second half. He destroyed the Eagles. This vaunted secondary. Where is the secondary? Where is the pass rush? And they ended up scoring 2 more scores after they stopped the Eagles, and now they're up 35-27. And now, this is why I give Jalen Hurts so much credit, because he could have folded as a young quarterback. He led the Eagles right down the field, converting short yardage plays, toweling up the middle on short yardage plays. They're the best short yardage team in the league, doing what they had to do. Then he rushed up the middle for a 2-yard touchdown. Then he gets a 2-point conversion with a run, and now it's tied up with 5:15 left. That's a problem. Mahomes got the ball. Okay, Brandon Graham's coming in. And I'm thinking, KC offense, Eagle defense. This is what it comes down to. I love it. Can the Eagles get a couple sacks? Can they get a strip fumble? They better do something, because this is what Mahomes does best. These comebacks. They're coming. Pacheco on 3rd and 1 rushes up the field for the 10-yard gain. Pacheco killed him. He went to Kelce, Pacheco, and Juju Schuster, and he worked that. But what really, forget the penalty that I'll get to at the end. The play, and nobody talks about it. The play that ended the Eagles season, that ruined their season, that was the worst breakdown on the defense, was a gimpy Mahomes going 26 yards, getting him deep into Eagle territory. 26-yard run. And he ran 10 yards, and he's looking around like, I should slide. But he's like, wow, okay, there's nobody around. Okay, I should slide. Okay, there's nobody around. Then he gets 26 yards in Eagle territory at the 17-yard line of the Eagles. And then at third down, it's the holding play, and I'm going to describe the play. Bradbury it was a soft holding call. Bradbury did have a piece of Juju Schuster's jersey, but normally you don't call that. I didn't like the call, but in regular time, it looked like Bradbury grabbed Juju, which he didn't. Because at first I said, oh, yeah, that's a blatant hold, man. But then I'm thinking he didn't really grab him, and he did hold him a little with the jersey. And they called it, but refereeing is incompetent. And you can't take that chance. I don't care if they didn't call it all game long. You can't take that chance to grab his jersey because these incompetent officials might call it, or they might not. You don't know. And then they ended up ending the game with a game-winning field goal because if it was a longer field goal, I would have trust Buckner. He barely made it a PAT on one touchdown. But it was an easy kick, and they ended up winning. That's not the reason why the Eagles lost. Now, listen, if I'm Bradbury, I'll let Juju. You're better off giving up the touchdown because you have a minute 48 left with no timeouts, but you have the chance to get the ball back, and maybe Hurts, as well as he's played, drives him down for a score. And if that play, and Mahomes really kind of overthrew him, so it probably wouldn't have made it. The catch. They kicked the field goal. Hurts, and I predicted Hurts would come down for a game-winning touchdown. He may have had a chance, but the Eagles did not deserve that. They deserved to lose. Giving up a punt return to Kadarius Toney for an easy score, and then there were two wide-open touchdowns on the same play that Andy Reid disguised and tricked the defense of the Eagles. Two wide-open touchdowns, one to Toney on the right side, which was bad. And then one to Sky Moore, the ninth option of the team. This is the guy who is a replacement to the guy of the replacement of the other guy. He's the third or fourth or fifth string wide receiver or running back. He is the very last option. And before that play, Andy Reid did a little ring around the rosies kind of trick play that didn't work. But I wonder if that messed with the eye level and the heads of the Eagles because he ran a little screen pass to Sky Moore, wide open for a touchdown. The punt return, and it's unfortunate, Jalen Hurts. It was a strip sack fumble where he gave up. It was a touchdown for the Chiefs, but I'm not going to blame him because he was solid. I mean, he had 304 yards passing, 103 QBR, 27 of 38. He was accurate. He was solid. He ran the ball for 70 yards, 3 touchdown runs, 1 touchdown pass. He was fantastic, but the defense was a big letdown. No sacks. The second, just vaunted, and Juju's a good. I know I'm a Steelers fan, so Juju's a good receiver. Not great, but good. And they let a good receiver just annihilate them. It wasn't Kelsey. And then you let Sky Moore go untouched. Confusion in the secondary. And then that punt return to set up the touchdown that took the lead, that is inexcusable. I mean, when Kadarius Toney caught the ball on the left side, I could tell they over pursued, and he was able to cut back to the right and go down the sideline. And he almost scored, but it didn't matter. They were going to score anyway, and they did. And Kadarius Toney, he was a cast off by the Giants. He destroyed. He destroyed the Eagles. And I wondered if they were going to use him when they got him. I said, the Chiefs are good at using these guys. And Tony had his catch and played well. But Pacheco had 76 yards rushing. And McKinnon gave you 34 yards rushing, but Pacheco was an unsung hero. And Juju, if it wasn't for Mahomes playing great, Juju could have got the MVP the way he played the second half. It was a great team. And I'm going to tell you something. Kudos to Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense. Because even though they gave up 35 points, they did have their moments where they did make they didn't let it get out of hand. They didn't let Hurts just completely dominate the game. And they got stops. They got the stops they needed. They didn't let the Eagles annihilate them in the run game the way the Eagles ran all over the Giants and the Niners. And Jalen Hurts, he was a guy who had 70 yards rushing. But Gainwell only had 21, and Sanders had 16. They shut their running game down, and they let Hurts beat them. But they needed to even have more control of the line of scrimmage like they normally do, but they didn't. It was a different kind of game. But Hurts was solid. But my man, Patrick Mahomes, showed his greatness. And it's not always in the stats because he did have 131.8 QBR rating, but it was 21 of 27, 182 yards passing. And they didn't have a lot of possessions because the time of possession favored the Eagles. But, man, the guts he showed. The guts he showed against the Bengals when he was really hurt, making it happen. The guts he showed, able to make enough plays and being a calm influence when the Eagles first scored, and he drove them right down the field. The ability to recognize that their coverage really favored Kelsey. So I can't go to my main guy. I'm going to go to Juju. And my brother told me, listen, you got to get Juju involved before the game started. I said, yep. And they got him. And he whoo, man, Juju was fantastic finding seams in the zone. But why didn't the Eagles play man? And their linebackers were terrible. I was listening to Philadelphia Sports Radio, and they were complaining about the linebackers. They were bad. And the Eagles all year long did not do well against tight ends, but that wasn't what hurt them. It was Juju making plays, Kadarius Toney making plays, Isaiah Pacheco gashing the Eagles. And I saw the Eagles at times get ran on. And a lot of times your bad habits or mistakes, you can get away with until the Super Bowl comes. And a really good coaching staff has 2 weeks to process. And they figured that out. In the second half, Andy Reid made his adjustments. And they were able to do what they had to do. And Kansas City wins their second championship in 3 years. And they won. They went to 5 conference championships. Mahomes has 2 rings. I'm going to talk about the team first. The Kansas City Chiefs really are at the gold standard of greatness. And what they did, I predicted this. When they lost to the Bengals, I said, well, it's going to take a while to recover from that type of terrible loss, blowing that lead. And then they lost Tyreek Hill to free agency, blowing the 21-3 lead at home. But they had the resiliency to come back without, and I saw it early, and I was like, I'm wrong about the Chiefs. I saw the first couple of games, I'm thinking, they're really on a mission now to get back. I thought Buffalo could get them because Buffalo would be on that similar mission, but their quarterback play wasn't as good as what Mahomes became more efficient. And they switched, Andy Reid, to his credit, switched their offense to a quick down the field, launching the ball down the field where they had Hartman and Hill, to now I got to go possession, 5 here, 10 there. We got to run a little more. We got to run in between the tackles with Isaiah Pacheco. And it worked. And their defense, the rookies they drafted were feisty. Clark and Gay at linebacker was fantastic, and Chris Jones had the great, almost Mike Strahan type of year in the interior. He was unblockable. He was hard to block yesterday. And he put enough pressure where a lot of times they forced Hurts into throwing the ball away, which they got enough stops. The Eagles didn't get any stops. They gave up 24 points in the second half, and the Kansas City Chiefs did not punt in the second half. And they could have, if they really were pressing the issue and they needed to score, they would have scored. It'd have been 28 points. But they wanted to run the clock down. Their goal was to run the clock down. Now, I didn't understand that third down play where he threw the ball, where it was the holding call, because even if Juju scores, the Eagles would have had a chance. It worked out perfect. Unfortunately, a great game is you have the penalty included in such a great game, but that call didn't cost the Eagles, and it wasn't rigged. Stop it. These are incompetent. The officials have been incompetent all year long. Look at the Bengals game. Look at some of the games you watched during the season. It's just been poor. So going forward, if you're a coach in the NFL in the Super Bowl, you tell your DBs, listen, when the fourth quarter comes, do not hold. If you've been getting away with it all game, I don't want any more bad calls. I don't want to take the chance that the official's going to throw the flag. Cover your guy. If you can't, so be it. You have to do that now if you're with the insight, because you don't know if they're going to call it. You don't know if they're not going to call it. So you don't take that chance. I think that's winning football if you do it that way. But the Chiefs showed their resiliency. They got a lot more stout defensively. They usually are good at home defensively, but in the Super Bowl, they traveled. They were a more physical team, and they won the line of scrimmage. The Eagle offensive line, the vaunted offensive line, no run blocking. Hurts made that happen by himself on those sneaks. He's so strong. Where was the defense? The defense had 70 sacks. The defense had 70 sacks. Third most in the history of the sport. 0 sacks on Mahomes, who was gimpy. Couldn't stop Mahomes from scrambling. Where was the secondary trying to contain Juju Schuster-Smith? They underachieved, with the exception of the brilliance of Brown and Hurts and how much heart he showed, keeping them afloat. The defense was a huge letdown in the second half. That was bad. So let's forget complaining about that one call and the NBA. Oh, the NBA's rigged again. Stop it. It's script. You know what the script is? You know when you write a script that is part of the defense that keeps Mahomes contained and not allow a 26-yard scramble with the season on the line and setting them up for an easy field goal. That's the script you should have used. I really don't want to hear that today. And I picked the Eagles. So that made me look good if the Eagles would have won. I didn't have no dog in this fight. I like both. I respect both teams. But this is Tell True Sports Radio. And the truth was, yeah, it's bad call. It had nothing to do with that choke job that the Eagles did on defense. That was ridiculous. And kudos to the Chiefs for redialing up the correct plays in the second half, getting Juju involved in the seam of the defense, finding the soft spots in the zone. But another thing, the Eagles did not blitz. Okay, your front four has been great all year long. Never need to blitz. You need to blitz. You got to make adjustments in the Super Bowl. Okay, this is not working. Let's go to something else. And you need to do that on the fly, and he never did. And he never adjusted, and he lost. Now, as far as Mahomes is concerned, he's going to be one of the all-time greats. And he probably, if he gets a Super Bowl or two more, and there's no shenanigans involved in the winning of the Super Bowls, he's going to go down as the greatest quarterback because he's athletic. He's got the mindset of Brady. I know Brady beat him, but in the Super Bowl, and that was more. Brady was great. He was good, but that was more the Tampa defense was fantastic. This is why I never have. I don't know if I'll have Mahomes as the greatest player, but he can go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks. This is why I don't have the quarterback is the greatest player of all time. I have Walter Payton and I have Jim Brown up there ahead of them because they were so great athletically and physically and what they had to do as far as carrying a team. They carried their team. Now, Mahomes, he kind of carried the Chiefs, but he had help. Brady had a lot of help with Belichick in the defense and some other shenanigans, but Brady was great too now. Coming back from 28-3, winning the Super Bowls he won. But there's, you had Deflategate, you had Spygate. That influenced people get mad. They say, "Oh, come on, why are you bringing that up?" It happened. Look at the Astros. The Astros are catching more heck with the one time they cheated than when the Patriots did it 4 times. Now they were disciplined enough to win the Super Bowls, but there were also shenanigans involved. You got to tell the truth. Understand it's not popular and people get mad. Oh, stop! No, it happened. If the Chief did it, I would say there's some stain to what the Chiefs did. If Andy Reid pulled that stunt, well, Andy Reid should have did that. I tell the truth. There's no wiggle room with that. If I got all over the Astros, which I have for doing that, and I gave them their flowers for winning this outright last year, and then a couple years before they didn't, I'm gonna get on the Patriots for doing what they did. And Belichick tried it a couple of years ago. He tried to mess again against Cincinnati, but nevertheless, he's definitely there's gonna be he's definitely gonna go as one of the greatest. But he's got to win some more. This is not enough. You got to win some more. You got to keep winning. Now, if they don't win next year, okay, I get it. But they're set up to win as long as Reed is there, or if they have Bieniemy and Bieniemy could keep all of what Reed has and their system is tight and they keep Spagnuolo for as long as they can. He may have another in his career if he just stays there. Kansas City, he may have another 2 Super Bowl championships possibly left them, maybe 3. I mean, he greatness is greedy, and he wants to be great, and he wants to win every year. He's always going to be hungry. He'll do all his take farm commercials, but that's fine. But I'm in that laboratory getting better, and he became more of a. He did all the little Harlem Globetrotter stuff years before, but he settled in to the quarterback position this year. I don't know if it's the ankle injury, but he still does his fun stuff. But the ability to process defenses is even better. And he can still get even better at doing that. So if he can just keep trending up, even without the 7 championships, because it's hard to do that. And I give the Patriots credit on one hand, but on the other hand, the shenanigans help. You know what's coming before it happens. That does help. But they were disciplined. So it's a two-edged sword with New England. You saw how disciplined they were for 20 years, but you saw the shenanigans. So you give them their credit, but you have to take some away because there's stains there. And the one that Brady championship he won with the Bucks, that's his, man. That ain't Belichick's. That's his. He won that fair and square. But Mahomes is trending way up to being the all-time great. Now, this is a league where you're not getting hit a lot. This isn't LT and Ronnie Lott and all those monsters and Lyle Alzado. But I still give Mahomes credit for the courage and toughness and the money and how much of a money quarterback he is. He runs when he has to, he passes when he has to. Just kudos to him. I just wanted to. And before I go, the Eagles, because you may see Eagle fans say, "Oh, we'll be back." You never know. This is a golden opportunity blown. They were a better team all around, and they blew it. Because of the draft picks they got, and Hurts could continue to get better because he's dedicated too. They have a puncher's chance of getting back. But Cincinnati thought they were going to come back, and they didn't. The 49ers thought they were going to be right back. They partied after they lost to the Niners and to the Chiefs in 19. And they haven't been back since because of injuries. You don't know what injuries have happened. You are perfectly healthy. Everything is right. Taxing the chips. And they didn't. Now they got to hope they get another opportunity to get the standard. This depth devastating loss. If I'm an Eagles fan, I wouldn't have slept. That is just for your defense to just not get a sack, been good all year long to get lit up and not have any impact. No, Riddick didn't do anything. That's tough. And the Chief offensive line fired up. You could tell. I saw them on the sideline. They were sick of hearing what the Eagles are going to do to them. And the Chiefs did their job. And kudos to the all-time great, Patrick Mahomes.